Hey folks, Brian Blessing coming to you from Las Vegas. Thrilled to be with you here at bangthebook.com. Always have a great time on Tuesdays joining our friend Adam Burke on the Sports Betting Podcast. We had golf and preseason football, college football, the topic this week. Great listen. Always invite you to check that out. Follow me on Twitter at Brian Blessing. And hey, listen, summer's winding down. Football's coming, but how about a little off the board topic here? And that's NHL season win points with the season coming up at the beginning of October. But the point totals are now on the board and something to look for in terms of money-making opportunities. Bottom line is, we go to the Atlantic where it's a top-heavy division. Tampa Bay at 107.5 points, the highest point total of any team listed in the NHL. They are flat-out loaded, tons of offense, good goaltending, Hedman at the blue line. They are going to be salty. Now, in the division, I think and this is telling you, the difference you'll see in the Atlantic to the Pacific is that it's correlated. It's a top-heavy division where you get the Toronto Maple Leafs on the board at 106.5 points and the Boston Bruins on the board at 102.5 points. So basically, the odds makers penciling those three teams as the top three teams in the Atlantic. And then you start looking who's going to vie for the spots in the Eastern Conference once you get to the Metro, where you got Pittsburgh, another 103.5 point team, and maybe a lot of that is respect Sidney Crosby and the past records. Pittsburgh could be starting to slow down just a little bit, but again, they should be salty. And the one team I think maybe is a little dicey there is Philadelphia in that 98.5 point range. And of course, we talk about the defending Stanley Cup champions at the same number as the Flyers. Could there be a Stanley Cup hangover? Certainly. But Washington feeling the ropes with Holtby, Ovechkin, and company. They signed Wilson to a big contract in the offseason. So the East is interesting. Who could be some of the upsetters or maybe a team you can make a little money at? I don't think it's crazy to say the Buffalo Sabres at 79.5 points, the worst team in the league, improve mightily and go over that point total. Bottom line is they get Rasmus Dahlin, what they believe is a generational talent, the first pick of the NHL draft on the blue line. Their defense has been completely revamped. If Jack Eichel stays healthy, now you've got a full season with Casey Middlestat as a center. And Jason Botterill's done a good job getting Connor Sheary and Jeff Skinner to come over to provide some offense. Last year we saw Colorado miss the playoffs, and everybody thought they were going to be horrid, and they actually made the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. Sabres could contend to make the playoffs in the East. Likely they fall short, but if you figure 95 is going to be the cutoff point for the 8th seed, going over 79.5 is not unreasonable at all. Now we go to the Western Conference and things are completely different there. Specifically, the Vegas Golden Knights, 96.5 points. What a whirlwind story it was here in Vegas last year. An expansion team, 109 points, win the Pacific Division, win the Western Conference. But all of a sudden now you're seeing 96.5 points. Last year their projected season win total was 70.5. But the reason they're in that mid-90s range, the Pacific Division got better. San Jose is going to have a full season with Evander Kane there, 97.5 points. The LA Kings, they've got back class. They got to find more offense. They did get Kovalchuk 93.5 points there. Arizona's made a lot of good moves as a good young team. Arizona's on the board at 88.5, but they're going to steal points in that division. And clearly that's correlated where all those teams are dragged down because last year Vegas and San Jose dominated the Pacific Division. Likely not the case this year where there'll be some cannibalization there. But in the West, the stud, and I still say they'd be the favorite to come out of the West, that's the Nashville Predators, 105.5 points, just loaded top to bottom. The team that's getting all the love, though, is the Winnipeg Jets at 106.5 points. Big, fast, skilled team, good goaltending with Connor Hellebuck. So all of a sudden now, though, you've got Winnipeg, the Jets at 106.5 points, dealing with the weight of expectations. You're seeing correlated numbers. One team's number will impact another. It's an interesting story. I would say another team to watch is Edmonton, 91.5 points. You got the best player in the world, Connor McDavid. I think philosophically, if they play a better game in their own end of the rink and rely on special teams and goaltending, Edmonton could be a team that turns things around and goes over the 91.5 point total. It's fun to start thinking hockey. It's not that far away, and we're always thinking outside the box with you here at bangthebook.com.